Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, things are heating up in Atlanta, it seems, and not in the good way either. Multiple reports that Trae Young is unhappy, the team is unhappy, the coach is unhappy, everybody's unhappy with each other. And it seems like Trae Young is on the verge of getting his release out of Atlanta. Fred, how are we doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
All right. What have you seen from Trae Young up to this point I mean, me and you are very, very hard on Trae Young. Let's
First of
get that.
all,
Yeah.
check out that video
Mm.
on Trae Young because I go in depth on what I think about him. Yeah, man, just inconsistency, inefficiency, no leadership qualities, just piss poor attitude. Just he's just not what you want as your franchise player, plain and simple.
This all started yesterday when Bleacher Report tweeted out rival executives believe Trae Young could be the next superstar to request a trade if the Hawks don't make inroads come playoff. Fred, I find that very interesting because, in my opinion, a lot of what is wrong with this Atlanta Hawks team right now is Trae Young.
Yeah, I mean he's taking the majority of the shots and doing it at a very low rate. And he doesn't bring you anything. Like I said, from a leadership standpoint, like you see guys who lead their team. Like, for example, Jason Tatum. Yeah, he can score the ball. Yeah, he can defend, but he's also a team player, one, and two, he knows how to lead a team. Maybe not vocally, but attitude wise, those come into play. And Trae Young whining, crying, not wanting to come off the bench after an injury. I mean, that thing just trickles down to the locker room. I'm sure that locker room's a mess right now.
Trae Young right now is shooting 41% from the field.
Ooh,
Not good. 30% from three. Also
don't
not
overdo
very
it.
good. He's still averaging 27.6 points and 9.8 rebounds. I think that's just, he has the ball so much in his hands. He's going to put up those kind of numbers, and he knows how to manipulate the game to get to the free throw line.
Yeah.
He's going to put up numbers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anybody takes that amount of shots, I mean, you're liable to average that many.
But I noticed this I was watching a game a couple weeks ago, and the way the players were reacting to to Trae Young, and then compared to how they were reacting to DeJounte Murray, I was like, something's off.
Yeah.
Something's off. And it just seems like it's been going downhill ever since then. It seems like they're willing to buy into DeJounte Murray. DeJounte's willing to buy into them. Whereas I feel like Trae's like, you have to play to me. You have to play around me. And
Yeah.
that's never going to work out. If you bring in a guy like DeJounte Murray, you have to be willing to be an off-ball presence and an off-ball threat. And Trae Young's not willing to do that.
No.
And
DeJounte was willing to buy in. I mean, you could tell. Like it looked like he was willing to see if, like, and it did. He was like, okay, I know Trey's the guy, but I can find a role. And then I think eventually DeJounte was like, well, this dude's an idiot. Let me let me go figure out how to win without him and with him. And I don't know if he can with him at this point.
if we're going to hold on to what they did a couple years ago, making the semifinals, congratulations. The Western Conference or the Eastern Conference Finals, congratulations. Like, cool, you did it once. And then, like, if that's what you're going to hold on to and act like you have made it or you're a superstar, you're not going to get anywhere. And I think we've seen that ever since then. They struggled really bad last year. They're struggling really bad this year. He's struggling really bad this year.
Yeah.
I've never enjoyed watching his game. I'll be honest. If I'm watching the Hawks, I'm watching to see DeJounte Murray. If DeJounte's out and it's just Trae Young, chances are I'm switching to another game. It's not enjoyable at all.
No.
But Fred, there's a question I want to ask is, do you think the Hawks should trade him before he requests a trade? Do you think they should do it soon? Do you think they should wait it out this year? What ideally do you think should happen?
I think you just go ahead and get it done. I think you trade him because, I mean, why wait at this point? It's not going to work. It doesn't seem. I mean, Nate McMillan's a really good coach, and I don't understand why they can't get along. And I don't think you side on Trae Young here. Like, I don't think you get rid of Nate McMillan for that reason. I think
that's ridiculous if you get rid of Nate McMillan. That's two coaches Trae Young would have gotten fired, and you still aren't getting anywhere. So
yeah, I would trade Trae Young. Get what you can. I think they can get a decent amount back because I think a lot of teams value him. So, I mean, go ahead and get it done.
I'm going to read off a tweet here from Kevin O'Connor, and then I'm going to ask you the question on here. Trae Young is an elite playmaker, but has shown no willingness to excel off ball next to another shot creator in DeJounte Murray. And he's a small defender that gets targeted by offenses. A ton of teams already have good point guards. A genuine question, which teams would really want Trae Young? So, Fred, I'm going to ask you, in your opinion, which teams should want a guy like Trae Young?
I think you got to look at it from a different angle. I think it's maybe give it to a team who has a lot of young pieces, a team that's maybe not performing too well this year, or a team who has tried to stick what they've been doing, and it just hasn't worked. So the first two that come to mind is Chicago and Miami. I think two teams that didn't do a whole lot in the offseason to make themselves better. Chicago's lacking a playmaker. And Miami, I don't think it's going to work with the current team they have. So maybe give Atlanta Tyler Hero, maybe Chicago. You look at yourself in the mirror and say, how much is Zach LaVine going to want to be here?
Zach LaVine has basically said he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, Zach LaVine and DeJounte Murray would be a lot of fun. But I just think about it from that standpoint, or you could even, if you want to ship them off to like Houston, I know they're literally not going to win anything, but why not?
So I took this a different way, sort of. There's two teams I have that I believe that are towards the bottom, that are still wanting to try to compete. And I don't think if you tune into the weekly podcast this week, I break down these two teams, the Wizards and the Raptors.
Yeah.
The Raptors right now are struggling. They're towards the bottom of the conference. Fred VanVleet's not been playing well. Pascal Siakam come and go. But I think that what I say on the podcast, so to tune into that, is the Raptors have the potential to blow up, but still be in a good spot with a guy like Scotty Barnes, and like they could get pieces back. If you build around Trae Young and Scotty Barnes, like those two could have a pick and roll game that could be could be pretty decent.
Would they get along?
I would say so, because from everything I've seen from Scotty Barnes, he's not like a give me the ball and let me go score. He's a facilitator, and he would play off a good point guard, in my opinion. So the first trade I have here, Fred, is the Raptors would receive Trae Young, Jarrett Culver, and Vit Krejci, or however you pronounce his name. And the Hawks would receive Fred VanVleet, Otto Porter Jr., who I think those two right there, Fred VanVleet, I think could play alongside DeJounte Murray pretty well. Otto Porter's a guy that could spread the floor and help out. And then to make contracts work, I threw in Juancho Hernan-Gomez, who you could consider maybe playing a couple minutes here and there. Josh Jackson, who I don't really think has anything to contribute, and DJ Wilson, who I really don't think has anything to contribute either. But like I said, I think the real key for for the Hawks team to get back is Fred VanVleet, who I really don't think is that much of a downgrade from Trae Young, if any. And Otto Porter, who you're receiving Otto Porter and getting rid of two guys that don't play for you. I think Otto Porter can still contribute to a good team. And I do think that around DeJounte Murray, Fred VanVleet, John Collins, and Clint Capella, that's still a really good starting five.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think even Fred VanVleet probably gives you a little bit more defensively as well. I know he's a shorter guard like Trae Young, but he's definitely, I think, a better and willing defender. Because, he has more weight on him. He's, we've seen what Fred VanVleet can be. And so I really like that trade. I think that would definitely make Toronto and Atlanta better.
I'm not a fan of Trae Young at all, but the thought of him working alongside Scotty Barnes, I think, is more intriguing.
Yeah, I think Trae Young will have to humble himself wherever he goes, though. That's going to be the key.
I agree. The second trade I have is the Wizards, because I do think the Wizards have come out and said they don't want, they've tried trading away apparently Rui Hachimura.
I saw that.
What are we doing? Blow up. They still think they can compete, and that's just, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
But for this trade, if you really wanted to compete, let's figure this out. Trae Young goes to the Wizards, Frank Kaminsky goes to the Wizards, and Jalen Johnson goes to the Wizards. I don't think, Jalen Johnson has shown maybe some spots, but I don't really think he's going to be anything in Atlanta.
Nah.
The Hawks would receive Rui Hachimura, Kyle Kuzma, Will Barton, Isaiah Todd, and Anthony Gill. All that to make contracts work. Kyle Kuzma is not going to stay, so I don't think it hurts anything to let him go. If you're really willing to give up Rui Hachimura, okay, give him up and bring in Frank Kaminsky, who can spread the floor. I mean, and Will Barton, ideally, I think they would love to keep a guy like him. But at the same time, I do think there always will be that kind of guy on the buyout market or free agency that you can bring in that'll do kind of basically the same thing as Will Barton.
Yeah, no, I think Atlanta would get significantly better there because I think Kyle Kuzma and DeJounte would play really well next to each other. So would Clint Capella, I think, in that situation.
Another guy like Otto Porter, but he's better than Otto Porter that can spread the floor, but can also get his own bucket as well. He's improved a lot on defense. So I don't see.
And he's shown he's willing to play make too.
Yeah,
which is good.
The last trade I have, Fred, I was trying to think of teams that are young that could use a good point guard. The Orlando Magic came in my mind. I don't know if they would do this, but nonetheless. The Magic would receive Trae Young. The Hawks would receive RJ Hampton, Mo Bamba, and Jonathan Isaac. With all these, there's probably a bunch of picks thrown in all these trades. I don't throw picks in just because there's no point.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. RJ Hampton, I really don't think is going to get a lot of playing time in Orlando anymore. Mo Bamba, they've been willing to get rid of. And Jonathan Isaac hasn't played for you.
No, he hasn't played in, 8 years since?
So for the Magic, you're getting Trae Young, who I think Cole Anthony could play alongside him. Cole Anthony is good off ball as well as on ball. Yeah. Franz Wagner could play alongside. You've got so many guys that Trae Young could work a pick and roll with all day long. And you spread the floor. So I don't see the issue in that. For the Hawks, RJ Hampton's a young guard you bring in. Okay, we'll figure that out. Mo Bamba, a big to bring in off the bench whenever Clint Capella or Nneka Okongwu go down, whatever the case. Yeah. Jonathan Isaac, I think, is a guy you're taking a risk on, but if he comes in, he could be really good for that Hawks team. Him, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, that's a really good defensive unit right there. This is my least favorite trade of all of them, but I do think if there's a way to make it, would you be willing to give up Cole Anthony or Jalen Suggs?
I would definitely want to keep Jalen Suggs. I think Cole Anthony, I'd be a little bit less upset about losing. Jalen Suggs, I would be, because I still think he has a lot to give.
Or even a guy like Markelle Fultz, maybe, as long as you're getting another guard back, I guess, to help out, whatever. But nonetheless, I can't guarantee that Trae Young's going to be traded. Right. None of us but I would love to see him gone because I do think.
Yeah. No, I think he has to go at this point. I mean, I don't think he wants to be there. I don't think Atlanta wants him there. So.
I don't see how you improve. I don't see how you repair any of this. Him and Nate McMillan don't get along. It doesn't seem like the players are fed up with him. I'd be willing to call it quits if I was Trae Young.
He doesn't seem like have a personality that the players like.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of his.
Yeah, he's kind of weird.
Not once.
No.
But nonetheless, let us know down below what team you guys would like to see Trae Young traded to, because I guess you could talk yourself into several teams. Just don't throw the Lakers in there. I'm tired of hearing Lakers with every trade. But nonetheless, let us know down below what you guys think. If you guys agree with these trades, if there's another team you'd like to see him traded to, be sure to stay tuned in for all the stuff we got coming out. We had a lot of stuff come out this week. Go check that out. Go check out our NBA Alphabet Draft. It was a whole lot of fun. But until then, we will see you guys later. Have a good one.